Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we are here again with the top 100 soccer items auctioned off this week via the PWCC auction block. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Of course, if you do, as always, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Helps me, helps the channel. But with that said, let's go ahead and get on into it. So per usual, we start low, we work our way higher. We start with the 1967 Pele Calciatore PSA 2, presumably stuck, or yeah, a little bit of gunk there on the back. Goes for 91. Pretty low start this week. We haven't seen a $90 week in a little bit, so at least something to look towards, or at least know what you're getting into here. 2022 Select Karim Benzema out of 5 PSA 9. Didn't seem like a bad price. I'm not necessarily someone that's hunting after the recent Select, release. I'd rather go back and get 2016, 2017. But for an out of 5 and of a Benzema who, at least at this point in the hobbies cycle, has more relevancy than he used to, not a bad price. Atomic Refractor PSA 10 Messi, always love the look of that, but that is out of 250, so that is of note. Above that we have a couple, well actually 3 David Beckhams, didn't even think about that. We have a 97 Futera, a 95 Merlins, and then we have a PSA 9 of the sort of infamous trio sticker at this point. Whenever I saw this sale, I actually thought that was a decent sale. Here in a second we'll see that it was, because a PSA 8 went for basically the same price as the 7. I would imagine that basically these two sold side by side. Someone said to themselves, well, this one's more centered than this one, I'll take the 7. And while I love the spirit of it, buy the card, not the grade, in reality, I think with stuff like this, where it's, lower price point, more common type of stuff, I think you just buy the grade. To be honest with you, unless you truly think PSA isn't going to, really stand a chance in the next 5-10 years, or in your time frame of holding said sticker, whatever it may be. But I don't know. People have just simplified grading to centering at this point. If that's the case, then we don't even need graders. You could just go online and, figure out all the centering yourself. It's pretty simple. We have a PSA 10 Panini Instant Messi going for 105. These were a good bit higher, between, I would say plus and minus around 150. And so 105 is a good bit of a drop, but as you can see, it's, pop 2200. Apparently not easy to gem, but still, it's a recently printed card. We have a Cannavaro Service Line Italy. I've never seen this before, and I did look it up. Basically, we had a sale of an SGC 8 that went for $67, and without looking any further into it, I'm just going to assume that's the same SGC 8 that sold for $6 back in 2017. So, good bit of a move here from, what we have of $6, nearly $7 to 105. Not too bad for a card or a sticker in the same grade. Above that, we have a Kolo Muani, we have a Mia Hamm tie-dye, and we have yet another of the trio sticker. Above that, I did miss on this one, but as I've said recently, I just throw in, sort of my low ball bids at the start of the week. If I hit something, I hit it. I was not really close on this one. Someone in the Vintage Soccer Discord basically made it apparent recently that there is Garrincha, Pele, and Yashin, which I guess, if you look a little bit closer, you can figure that out yourself. But with all the action shots of the 1958 year, I've never really, dug too deep into them, but that does seem pretty important, so I'd love to pick one up, but they seem to auction a good bit, so I think I can wait and I'll still get one. 84 Prismatic PSA 7 Maradona, always love the look of this one, and a PSA 7, not an easy grade. We have a PSA 1 Franz Beckenbauer. This one, pretty low price. I wanted to look it up because we don't look up Beckenbauer a lot, since we generally know where this has gone, but PSA 1, I guess last comp on a PSA 1 was $100, so up a little bit. Last comp before that was $132, but there's also this, PSA 1 MK that went for $126, which presumably would be a decently high sale. At least comparatively. We have a 1964 Sicker Verlag, Foosball Pele, and a PSA 1 going for 112. This type of stuff just, to me, it seems really, really high. If you could get a PSA 1 of something, would you want sort of this random Pele, or would you want a Franz Beckenbauer absolutely iconic card? Seems easy to me. We have a 1980 Maradona here with the cool yellow borders. I think there's a couple different ones from this set. To be honest, I am not too into the weeds into it, but I do know that it does a decent number in a PSA 1, as you can see. 120 for this one here. Nice looking picture. Also a nice looking picture here on this 1979 Crack Super Football. So this is the same as the Estampas in terms of picture, but this is more blown up and honestly better color. But SGC 1 goes for 117. 1953 Gento here. I've never seen this one before. Presumably CGC's grading something that other grading companies might not feel, all that comfortable grading yet. They tend to do that, which I think is a good thing, sort of pushes innovation and, research in a space where we need it. So we have a 1 here going for 117. Looked at the back, it was a clean back, which didn't give me much info. To be honest, it looked like some sort of magazine cutout, at least to my eyes. If people have information, feel free. If not, I'll probably figure out at some point myself. But 117 on that one. We have a Pedri auto here and a PSA 10 going for near the same. A PSA 9 Messi 2006 World Cup sticker. We have an Andy Cole out of 49. Don't see that name in here all too often. 2022 Immaculate sticker. We have a 1980 Roberto Baggio or 1987 Roberto Baggio PSA 8. This is a pop 1 of 3, none higher. So if you're someone, trying to put together a Calciatore run of Baggio, that'd be a fun one. Next to it, we pair up the 87 Baggio with an 87 Maldini. I actually really like the look of this Euro Flash, but it is a PSA 5. Eye appeal off the charts, but also, not center, top, bottom. That's pretty clear. It gets 126 and a 5, which is pretty cool. Don't see that all too often. Above that, we have a 2022 Cristiano Ronaldo out of 10 green. Yeah, this is one where, numbering I think has just gone too far. I don't I don't know. This isn't my type of Ronaldo card, but I'm sure it's for someone, and hopefully that someone is who purchased it. We have a 2006 UK Traditions Ronaldo PSA 10 goes for 138. Presumably too high of a price to pay for a set that really has no meaning and, no real history in the hobby other than being the, bootleg Messi rookie of the time during the boom. We have an SGC 1 Dolar going for 138. Not too sure on the player. Yeah, not a name that I've ran across, but blame me. Don't blame the person that bought that, because presumably they know what they're doing. I do not. When it comes to that, at least. 1968 Panini Calciatore Pele Velita in a PSA 3 goes for 144. Next to the Pele, we have 2018 Kylian Mbappe here from his World Cup winning season. Also in a French kit. Could be considered a rookie if you are a crazy man. Some people are. I probably wouldn't, but to each their own. Pop 1 of 12 goes for 150. Really like the look of it. Not something you see all too often. 2020 Immaculate Collection Paolo Rossi and Franco Baresi goes for 156 with an out of 35. We have a 2018 Mo Salah, so I did look this up because I was interested. We don't see a lot of, colored prisms of good players. This one goes 156. The last one apparently did 81 a month ago, which is, really cheap. Maybe that's a quick flip for someone. Not sure. The one before that went for 276, but that was also really high comparatively to, what was happening before that at 110, 120. So bouncing all around. 156, though, seems to be a good ending sale comparatively to last year, though, especially when you consider that it was on bid and not a buy it now. Sapphire Edition Erling Haaland. We've seen the PSA 10s go for, 500-600 at this time. PSA 9 goes for 160. BGS 4 Catalan Messi goes for 162. Low price, but low grade, so it makes sense. Above that, 2021 KDB sticker auto next to an Erling Haaland. Leaf sticker auto next to a Ryan Gravenberch out of 10. Fun one if you are a Gravenberch guy. At one point, a hobby darling. Not so much anymore, but that, I guess provides a window if you are a fan. We have a 2019 Kavicha here and a PSA 8 that goes for 186. Don't see these all too often, so that's fun. Panini Russia, it'll be interesting to see how that grows over time if the player is, still collected throughout said time. Then we have a 1931 Schiavio. I'm honestly not too sure, but basically an Italian striker from what I'm aware, back in the 20s, 30s. And here we have a 1931 in a PSA 1 that goes for 186. We've seen some of the bigger players in the set sell recently for typically bigger numbers, but, fun to be able to put even more of that together if you're into it. Recently graded, always like to point that out when I notice. Same thing with this Thierry Henry 1997-98 Panini foot card. Saw this in Dan's conversation with Soccer Study. Thought it was a really fun one and liked the comparison with the 2014 Chrome. I thought that was cool. And really nice looking Thierry there. Goes for 210, pop 1 of 9 higher. We have a red Jade Topps Messi going for 216 here next to a Spanish Thierry Henry that goes for 222. Back in sort of the heyday of soccer cards, these were a bit higher, but still 222 for a 6 isn't that bad. There's also the Russian variation, which is more rare, but it's also, kind of a difficult time to, get a good gauge and trust said pop, so I don't know where I'm at with that, but Yeah, something to note. We also have a 2004 Campio Messi from the Mega Crack set. The white one of the team set goes for 228. We have an SGC 8 1996 Mejores Equipos de Europa of Ronaldo R9. That goes for 228. Fun set. Obviously, you got the Thierry Henry. I mean, realistically, I'd much rather have the Thierry Henry in a 6 than the R9 in an 8. I guess this is also the Russian variant, so that does have to be accounted for. A little bit of a premium for that. But, you know, not an R9 rookie, but it is R9 with Barca, which you don't have a ton of, so it's fun. But there's a lot of different Barca releases, so I think that's important to note. 2015 David Luiz here, black 1 of 1. It says eyes open, so presumably, you know, the variant numbering. Basically, you know, Select has 2 different ones in the 2015 set. So this goes for 234. I mean, feels light for a 1 of 1, but at the same time, David Luiz isn't, you know, a big name or a big hitter, just a, you know, Brazilian defender with a notable name, notable hair, but that's really about it. Next to that, we have a Aquarella DD PSA 5 that goes for 234. Above that, we have a Garrincha PSA 4 that goes for 234. Personally, I'd rather get the Garrincha, and I actually did look that up because I was interested. This goes for 234. Last one went for 360 on the weekly, and then before that, 206, 240, 400. So all within the range, and actually seems to be up maybe a little bit from February, July, or near the same price. We have a 1935 Piola STC 7. Pretty sure these are postcard related, as you can see on the back. But very good grade, at least for the time. At the same time, you know, wouldn't assume these to be all that hard to grade. But goes for 264. Next to it, near the same price, we have a Maldini 1985 PSA 7. Look this up since we haven't looked up a Maldini in a while. This goes for 276. Before this, 500 on fixed price, which is always hard to trust in the sense that I mean, actually, I don't think it's hard to trust. I mean, there's a little bit more that has to be trusted into it. But I'm saying basically it's the upper bound. You know, auction prices are going to be lower. Buy it nows are going to be higher. 2 times the price, you know, pretty high. But at the same time, well, I guess, I don't know, compared to this, 126 to 500, that's pretty nuts. This goes for 276, though, which comparatively to last year, 126 and 186 last year. So I guess if you go further back, you know, 300, 400. But we're close to those days, at least with this final sale price. Also sort of recently graded, so I want to point that out. 2019 Erling Haaland Topps Chrome PSA 10. We have a Monday Chromo 6.5, which you don't see all too often, for near 300. A 66 Pele here. A Poca Copa del Mundo. See this a good bit, I feel like, lately. Maybe it's something PSA started recently grading. Does say, I'm pretty sure, hand cut on the slab there, but we'll keep it moving. 2017 Robin Gold. I did want to look this one up, but I did not find any auction results, or just any results, really, so didn't end up doing that, but PSA 9 goes for 300. Pretty good price there, you would think. This is a PSA 9 Xavi that goes for 312, a pretty good price as well when we consider that last one was 300, one before that 222, one before that 200. So I can keep going back until these are higher. But point being, you know, that's almost a 50-60% gain throughout this year, and it was a little bit lower than that last year at times. So that is up a good bit. Also, being an auction price, you know, if a buy it now sold, it might be 400 or 500 at this point, which is a good bit of a bump. But whether or not that happens, you know, we'll have to see. This seemed really high. I was pretty shocked by this initially. BGS 5 here, but it is Catalan and it is the blue version of the Mega Cracks from the team set. So it is, you know, sort of one of the preferred Messis in that sense. It's also a 5, which is less preferable, but gets 336. Above that, 1 of 1 Gravenberch here in the 2021 Finest goes for 372. Same price next to it, a Drogba. Did take a look at this just to see. We don't see a lot of these. So last one went for 288. So that's a good bit of a bump over it. But before that, last year, they were a good bit higher. You know, also would be one that, I don't know, I'd be a little worried of, at least in the sense of fakes, but this was graded a little bit ago, so I wouldn't worry as much. We have a Kavicha here, a gold out of 10 from the Chronicles set, goes for 384. We have a 1 of 1 Pedro Goncalves and a PSA 9 from the Topps UEFA Japan edition going for 384. Next to that, we have a Messi Red. I did look that one up, but yeah, I must have closed it. Basically, all the 4 prior sales were all, I believe, the same SGC 10 slab, and they basically bounce around from 300 to 500, 400 to 400, and so, you know, I think everyone just losing the fee on it, basically, and the marketplaces are winning on these sales, but that's what I'm seeing. We have a 1 of 1 Ansu Fati. We have an out of 25 Florian Balogun. Look this one up because I don't get a lot of chances to look up U.S. players. Oh, never mind. I didn't. I lied. There, got it now. 400, 300, and in the past we have 900 in a 10, 1300 in a 10, so some pretty big prices. But I mean, this is a pretty big price for a raw, to be honest, 408. You can sort of go in and like look at what they say is wrong with it. I mean, apparently the person that looked over this, so there's basically nothing wrong with it. Goes for 408. Next to that, we have a Messi PSA 7 Monday Chromo for 430. We have an out of 5 Japan Red. Well, I guess it's not Japan, it's Steve Aoki. But yeah, red goes for 444. Above that, we have a red Erling Haaland. So I saw these, and I would definitely rather have the red Erling Haaland. I know that's Messi in a red, but you put Steve Aoki on it, I'm out. I'll take the Erling Haaland red all day. Next to that, we have a 1 of 1 National Treasures Lewandowski that goes for 456. Don't really have much of a way to comp that, so didn't look up any sales, but it seems like a decent price. Above that, PSA 8 of the Mega Cracks White variation goes for 480. Little low, but, I mean, it is the less preferred of the bunch. Some more Haaland Sapphire here for 492, 516. We have 2004 PSA 7. That's a little bit higher, of course, one grade higher, but the more desired variation along with that being the Campio. Although even on this one, yeah, that is the Campio. See, this says Campio. It's really hard to tell, but believe me, it says Campio. Yeah, it says it right there, but it says Campione on the slab. And this is actually really, really recently graded, so this is sort of a PSA blunder, I would say. And it's also part of why it's hard to tell if Campio is really, truly more rare or just worse labeled, I guess. Keeping it moving, we have a Pele here from the 1961 Ballas Keep. We also have a Pele here from the Football Mondial Vecchi from 1962. Really good looking one here. Love the flags. I mean, just unparalleled in terms of vintage, in my opinion. Back, little shoddy, but it is what it is. Between the two, I like the left one a little bit more, but mostly that's eye appeal in terms of lineage. Maybe you could say the middle one. We have a 1931 Metal Footballer, so this is basically, I think a team set from what I can tell. There's some notable Italian that probably won multiple World Cups in there somewhere, so figure it out yourself. I don't quite know, and I don't really care to zoom in too far, but it goes for 660. We've seen a few of these go lately, so definitely is something I've seen before, but not all too aware. Definitely a very unique piece and something that always catches my eye. 2022 Pele Auto here out of 5 goes for 700. Seems pretty cheap for a Pele Auto, to be honest, but it is sticker, it's recent, yada yada. This one was a low sale, so did look at this one just to see, and basically this goes for $780. I was talking about it last couple weeks that basically this sticker was lingering at 1,000 and then shot up to like 1,200, 1,300, which I said was impressive because typically when things linger near 1,000, they drop below because something just falls through the cracks. This might have been it. At the same time, maybe people are really putting a premium on first, second, third edition foosballs of Haaland. I don't know if that's still a thing that people care about anymore. But basically, if you go back through the timeline, there's 3 different releases from 3 different sort of systems of releasing an item, and different ones were released at different times. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think anyone's going to care because people don't even care about Campione Messi, and I feel like that's a reasonable spot to care about. So maybe that's the case here. If it is, let me know. But found that interesting. So 2021 Lionel Messi auto here. Presumably a fake auto. That L is not the way a Messi L should look like. It should be kind of down, and then it starts to go sideways, and it gives a more circular curl. This is sort of a coat hanger, which to me is always iffy. There's other things you can look for, but that's sort of a clear-cut one. Red Refractor Kylian Mbappe goes for 960 and a 10, pop 1 of 3. We have a PSA 6 of the Ronaldo Mundo Deportivo that goes for 1,000. We know the story with that. We have a 1930 Miazza here from a chocolate set in Italy, I would imagine. I'm just sort of taking a guess there, but would seem to make sense. Got him in the shot pretty early in terms of Italy. You really see releases start to kick up in the early 30s, so a 1931 is going to be nice. Here you also have a 1930 Sastre that goes for 1230 in an SGC1. Really like the eye appeal on this. I didn't even look at the back. I mean, obviously you got the staining, but you can see all the back basically, and the front's a little rough. You see all the, I guess, maybe creases or, sort of cuts in the paper, whatever that is, but it looks really good for one, I will say. And Sastre, you don't see a lot of his stuff, so a 1930 release, really, really cool. Goes for $12.30 and seemingly deserved. Couldn't find any comps, but I wanted to dearly. Next we have a Dennis Bergkamp PSA 9 that goes for $1,400. Could find comps on this one. Before this, $1,600 and $1,200 last year, so right in line with where it was a year ago, which is probably good to see, you would imagine. Then sort of breaking into the top 15 here, we have a Pele Game Used patch from the 2018-2019 Immaculate set in a 9.5 going for $1,500. We have a gold Kylian Mbappe from the 2020 Euro here for $1,530. Next to a platinum 1/1 Panini Treble Thomas Muller for $1,560. 1/1 sales are always hard to comment on. I will say, I remember, the Cristiano Ronaldo, rainbow from Treble selling during the Treble boom for 10 to 15 grand. Given that's the case, this feels really high, at least to me, but I understand, there's definitely buyer and collectors out there, and so someone's going to pay a premium for a 1/1 Molar, and I totally understand why that's the case. But when I see the Ronaldo rainbow go for 10 to 15k, whatever it was, I can't remember exactly, but then the Thomas Muller 1/1's maybe 15% of that entire rainbow, that just feels really high. But, if you are the buyer, congrats, fun card. At the same time, Treble does scare me a little bit because it's got that premium, we could go back and talk about it, but I've done it plenty of times before. We have a 1962 Pele here and a PSA 4, really, really nice looking. Love the blue border and also sort of the diamond image that you have there with the background. Pele's a little blurry, really blurry, that is really, really blurry, especially for getting a sticker, but, at the same time, I guess focus on a card is not everything, but it is, of course, a lot. Also, I don't know. The back looks a little sus, but maybe that's just some of the ink on the front sort of coming through. Unsure, but that goes for $1,600 and a really nice looking Pele there. 2014 Lionel Messi Red Prism PSA 9 from 2014 Prism, the set everyone covets, loves dearly. This goes for $1,650. Last one in a BGS 9 did $1,200 on best offer, so that is up, at least, by my comparison, they're a good bent. We could go back and compare further, but, seems like a decent sale for a PSA 9. Next to that is Ronaldo Sticker Auto from Prism Premier League out of 5, goes for $2K. We have a PSA 9 2004 of the foil version of the Monday Chromo, the Top Liga. This goes for $2K, which typically, the PSA 9s are $1,500 to $2,000-ish. So on the higher end, I would say sometimes you can get up to $2,500, but within the ballpark. Then we have an SGC 2 of a Titulares 1958 Pele. This is the horizontal of the two releases. There's a vertical and a horizontal. Really nice looking back. For a 2, that looks really, really good. So I can see why that got the label, the PWCCI appeal. They don't always make sense, but in that situation, I can certainly understand it. Goes for $2,100. Decent sale. Last one also had an eye appeal sticker. PSA 2 did $2,000, so PSA to SGC. You would assume that's a little bit of a bump, but yeah, within the range. We have a Cristiano Ronaldo Gold 2019. That goes for $4,000. Pretty decent premium on that sticker auto. Looks like the auto goes a little off, but it is PSA 10. It's gold. It's 1/1 pop, so it's got all that going for it. And then into the top 6. So this, on most weeks, I feel like this would be the top 3 in and of itself. We have a 2004 PSA 9 Este sticker. We've been seeing these go for 4 to 5K, so this is, right in the range, sort of on the higher end. I feel like, a fun conversation could be had in the sense that this PSA 9's really close to this PSA 8. Obviously, one grade off, but at the same point, it is Este sticker versus Mega Cracks, which we've never really had to have a conversation of, and we really don't still. I think that the Mega Cracks would comfortably do about 2x to 3x what this would do. But at the same time, it's a little interesting and fun to think about, but from what I understand, PSA still isn't grading these, so it's a tough time to really feel all that great and comfortable about it. But at the same time, it sort of stopped the pop from growing, so it's a gift and a curse, I guess. But yeah, $5,000 there, $6,300 over here. This is within the range, actually. A decent sale, higher than some of the recent ones, but, not extraordinarily high. This was extraordinarily high, but there hasn't been another one to sell, so you really have nothing to comp it off of. I looked at past sales. There was a PSA 5 that sold for $2,000 last year, so a PSA 8 going for $5,000 might not seem crazy, but realistically, this PSA 5 Maradona, I think at the time was probably pop 1/1 none higher, and then this PSA 8's now pop 1/1 none higher. And actually looking at the cert numbers, No, it was Pop One of one higher at the time. They knew there was an 8 out there. The 8 just hadn't been purchased, and yeah, I mean, absolutely huge card. The Forza goal is the chase for Baggio and Maldini. So, Maradona being the best player in the league at the time, and obviously having a great stint with Napoli, feels like an amazing card and gets an amazing price. Some part of me thought that I had an outside shot at this, and come to find out, I didn't even have a shot against people that thought that they had a real shot that didn't even have a shot. And so there's like layers to this of people that were already, going and chasing after it. So congrats to all of them. I'd love to own a Forza Goal Maradona one day. Honestly, I don't really have much ambition to own the Baggio or the Maldini, at least for the time. Eventually I'll probably, come around on it, but I really would want the Maradona, but obviously, not this one. That is extraordinary in terms of price. And congrats to the buyer too. I think it's a great card, and would probably be instantly my favorite Maradona in the collection. So, that's just sort of how it works. And then we go up to the top 3, which pretty big top 3 this week. We have an orange BGS 10 Messi from the 2017 set, the Topps Chrome first year that everyone knows and adores. So yeah, this one, fun one to look at because it sort of shows, what narratives can do, I guess. So a BGS 10. I don't know if this is the same one. This would be crazy if it's the same one. Let me see this. Okay, so we got, what do we have here? We have 00109. Okay, what's this one? 00109. There you go. All right, so this card was $82 in 2019, and it sold for $6,900. After selling, the same one sold before. So whoever bought this bought it for $12K, probably netted $6K on this, so they took half their money out after, I don't know, holding Messi for a year, him winning a World Cup, and they just, took half. But it is what it is. And to be honest, this is partly why, right? You can't fully see it at the bottom, but you can see that number down there. I'm trying to zoom in, but it's not zooming. No matter the case, there you go. $82 down at the bottom. I mean, that is just crazy. $82. And that's part of what people need to be cognizant of. Even if a set has a narrative, I understand. It's a lovely set. It's, first year Topps Chrome. But first year Topps Sapphire should matter, right? No one cares. I mean, people care, but no one talks about it. First year Topps should matter, right? There's Topps Champions League from like 2015, 2016. There's colors in there. They're paper, so it's not the same. It's not the same love and luster, but, some of these things have, from 80 to 12,000, that's an insane run up. Where else can it go but down? Is it really going to go to 50,000? There's just sort of, I don't know, a wishful optimism that exists a lot of the time, but realistically, you have to at least be rooted in some sort of history. The Topps Chrome set really has none. I understand we love it now, and to be fair, I think we should still continue to love it, but, where that price point is that makes sense for people, I don't know, and I think that's still, to be determined. Now, obviously, to compare to 2019 isn't fair, but, in most scenarios with soccer cards, a lot of things are up 2, 3, 4x from 2019. And if you're in the 2, 3, 4x range, I sort of am like, okay, that's fair. I can understand it. There's more people now. There's less of those out there now. I get it. But this is just like, it just goes to show what a narrative can do. And, for good or for bad. You could be on the end of that where maybe you bought it for $90 and you sold it for $12,000. That'd be a great day, right? But at the same time, maybe you're the guy that bought it for $12,000 after it was worth $90, and now you're taking home half your money after a year where good things happened, right? So just something to think about. Continuing, we do have a Topps Chrome here from 2019 Erling Haaland, the green refractor that went for $7,200. I didn't look this one up because honestly, I'm not particularly interested. But we do see the gold sell for 15 to 20K in high grades, and those are out of 50 color match. So I just felt in my head, $7,000 for a green seems like a fair deal. So $7,200 there, not too bad. Pop one of 5.9 higher. Then finally, we end off with the 94 Alvel R9 Copa do Mundo. This is a set that is more recently graded. Whenever I got in the hobby, this wasn't even an R9 rookie that was on people's radar. I'm not particularly sure on the release, but I do know that basically this is sort of the new rare R9 that people go for. I don't like the look, and it feels a little, feels a little cheaply made to me. Personally, I love a vote ball or, a more conventional rookie for R9, but I'm also not an R9 super collector, so to each their own. This is a pop one of 1 just too higher, goes for $8,400. When I looked up past sales, we saw the same one before, so it went for $12,000 prior. This time, seller probably nets 7,000, 7,500. Takes a good bit of a loss over the last year, and goes on their merry way, I'd presume. Before this, we had a PSA 6 miscut go for 5,000 and a PSA authentic go for 3,500. So seems like a relative deal, but at the same time, again, doesn't really have the history in the hobby, doesn't really have, sort of, I guess, things to be able to build it up and make it feel like a grail, but at the same time, it pulls grail-like prices, which is what you can do in soccer when, you have a great player with a rare rookie and a decent grade. So it gets a good price, and felt like a pretty good weekly. Started off a little slow, but in the high end, it was very hard hitting. I felt like once we got over 1,000, I mean, these are just, non-stop kind of bangers for the most part, and something, everyone would love to put in their collection. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Of course, if you did, we'll do it again soon. So do make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it greatly. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.